Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. Good times for all. There's Zachary Zabala here from Prefer. In this little chat we're going to be having, going to be going over just a few of the plants here that I can find in my yard that are edible, that grow wild. I didn't put them here. Well, one of them I did put here, but I found it out in the wild, and I just kind of moved it. You do not want to go and eat the wrong plant. One plant that is very good for you and nutritious can look very much like a plant that's sick and even kill you. So you have to be very careful. I can't stress that enough. You have to be so careful when going out into the wild and eating plants. It's not like they're tainted or anything from being in the wild. It's just you have to know what you're looking for. You didn't go buy it in a store with a tag on it that told you that for sure it's this kind of plant and it's safe to eat. Out in the wild, I mean, and plants don't always look how they would look in a drawing or even in the pictures that I had, these nice color pictures that they give you in this book. I mean, I'll be showing them to you. But there's so many plants out there in the wild that we can eat and sustain ourselves. I think it will come in handy, maybe one of these days. Hopefully we'll never need to. Hopefully there'll always be food in the grocery stores, and there'll always be good clean water and all that kind of great stuff. But in case something happens and you're stuck somewhere and you don't know, a little bit of information about knowing what's edible and what isn't can save your life. I mean, if you never leave cities, it's one thing, but if you go out, traveling and wandering around, there's places here in the United States where you won't see another person for 50 miles in any direction. And it would help to know just a little bit of information. It could really help you. So what I'm going to start with are it's a big, thick book. It has all kinds of plants in it. But I'm going to just start with the ones that I can show you that I have growing here in my yard. Nothing, and then I'll show you as they're growing. I'll come back and do another one of these about mid-season and then one in the fall and just show you what the plants look like. Because when you harvest them is also very important. Some plants are edible at certain times. Hey Sandra, how's it going? And they become non-edible. They become poisonous even. The Indians knew all about this stuff. We probably lost more information of what they knew about the plants than we know today, actually. Actually, I'll go over 5 plants because I know I have polk growing in the back, and I want to show you guys, because you can eat polk right now this time of year, but you can't eat it later on in the season. So we'll go, but I'm going to start with we're going to start with wild strawberries. They are, I don't want to have to read too much. I mean, the wild strawberries, they're predatory. It's not hard to see what they look like, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you one of the plants. This guy, he does a lot of talking about stories about his childhood and stuff, so I really don't want to get into too much of the reading. I'll get into some of the reading for the plants that are kind of hard to tell the difference and whatnot, stuff like that. But we're going to go take a look over here. And actually 2 of the plants are growing right here. Now you want to be careful where you're stepping here. And I left all these weeds right here on purpose. If you look, you'll see all these curled up ones. I'm going to try to move it around here. And so many people don't know what they are. Now regular strawberries, you can see the leaves are still nice and wide opened up, real big and round. Well, a wild strawberry, it's going to be a lot smaller than a uh, a farm strawberry, a grown strawberry. Now the wild strawberries, easy way to tell, you'll see these red, can you see the red lines coming out of the base? And they'll lead on, and what they're doing is making more wild strawberries. This little guy will be a new plant right here, and it was birthed from one of these lines, these red lines, and there's more coming out here. They call them leads. And they got another little guy that'll probably start right here. Now when I started these, now I left all these weeds so you can see kind of how they hide. But that's what they'll look like. So you'll notice the leaves on a hot day. They've been like this all day because it hasn't rained in a couple days. But they'll curl up, and you can see the little berries. Yeah, Curve Chaser. I actually transplanted these from a wild field where we always went and did our shooting. I went out to go pick up some of the targets we were shooting at, and I found a patch of them, and I just grabbed one of them, but one of them turned into all of these right here, and they spread out pretty good. I think that was about 2 or 3 years ago when I did that, and they're making their way, but they don't produce very big berries, not big at all, but as long as they get good water, you find a nice patch of these, and you could, you know, you'd have a nice little meal. And the best part, this berry's growing on it. I don't want to mess with it too much. To you, and I'll have all this weeded, and they'll look much better. They won't. I don't believe they'll be producing berries then. I'll look in the book right now and tell you when they produce the berries. Let's see here. It'll tell me exactly when the berries, like the strawberries I have over here, the ones that I plant, I actually got from an organic farmer down the road. Those they can produce all year long. They're called everberries. Those are his moneymaker right there. He grows them indoors all year round, and he has things called Quonset huts. The plastic half tube, half cylinder. It's about, I forget how many yards long, maybe 30 yards long, and he just has pallets on both sides full of strawberries, and he gets them to where they're like this round. It's amazing. I still have to get over there and talk to him about having a chat with him. Let's see. Okay, I'll get to the description, not his whole story. Of the rose family, Rosaceae, ripe fruit of the Fragaria virginiana. Wild strawberries. The wild strawberry should be easily recognized by anyone familiar with cultivated strawberry plants, as there are only minor differences. The wild strawberry is a low, herbaceous perennial that spreads by stolons or runners, often forming large colonies. Each leaf is divided into 3 coarsely, regularly, and sharply toothed leaflets. The leaflets range from 1 to 3 inches in length, 2.5 to about 8 centimeters. They are usually covered with fine hairs on the underside and give them a soft, silky feel. The 3 leaflets are borne at the top of an erect, hairy petiole that stands about 1.5 to 10 inches or 4 to 25 centimeters tall. Plants growing amidst tall grasses and herbs on moist soil grow taller, while the shorter ones are found on dry sites exposed to full sun. Strawberry leaves persist through the winter and are a favorite late fall and early spring food for deer. Flowers are produced in loose cluster of 2 to 12 atop a hairy stalk separate from those bearing leaves, but about as tall. Blooming in early to mid-spring, strawberry flowers are about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, 13 to 18 millimeters across, with 5 white petals and a yellow center. The flowering, here's a picture of them. it said something about charging had to stop because of high temperatures. It's like 85 and high humidity. The flowering stems and leaf stems are often red. There are two widespread species of wild strawberries in North America: the common wild strawberry, Fragaria virginiana, and the woodland strawberry, or F. vesca. They are generally similar in appearance, but the fruit of the woodland strawberry is more elongated and pointed, and the seeds rest on the surface rather than in small pits, like those of the common wild strawberry. Wild strawberries of both species, however, look essentially like miniature versions of the cultivated fruit. A third species, the coastal strawberry, is confined to the Pacific coast. The flowers and fruits of this species are larger than those of its inland cousins, and the leaves are more leathery and glossy. Our cultivated strawberry is a hybrid between the Virginiana and the Chiloensis. Of our three species, the woodland strawberry is the least flavorful, although I certainly don't pass them up. Okay. Wild strawberries do not have any dangerous lookalikes. That's one nice part about this plant. Okay, I'm gonna have to get this thing out of the sun, it looks like. It keeps saying that it's gonna shut down. So I'm just gonna come over here. Oh yeah, that thing is hot. I'm gonna set it in the cold sand for a little bit. Okay, they do not have a dangerous look-alike. The barren strawberry of open northern woodlands is similar in size and growth, but has yellow flowers and irregularly toothed or lobed leaves. It never produces a strawberry-like fruit. The basal leaves for some cinquefoils, particularly the rough cinquefoil, are also frequently mistaken as hispidus, which forms colonies in open bogs and sand soil. This species flowers at the same time that strawberries ripen. Okay, range and habitat. Widespread across North America, all of the United States and Canada except for the deep south and desert areas. It thrives in sunny or partly sunny locations with poor to low nitrogen soil that is well drained but receives ample moisture. So rainy, sandy areas. Come on, get off me. I have these ants all over me. Okay. They ripen in early summer. The range, they are the first or one of the first wild berries to become available. They will become redden in late May, maybe, especially on south slopes. The peak of the wild strawberry season in these areas falls in the early or middle part of June, and a few of them remain available into July. So before July, most of these strawberries are already gone. You need to get them. You need to get out there and get them before July even starts. The ripening of strawberries coincides with the flowering of blackberries and the oxeye daisies. They are mostly gone by the time the basswoods flower. I have always thought of strawberry picking as an unequivocal beginning of summer. So at the end of fall, or end of spring, is when you want to do your strawberry picking for wild strawberries. That's where when you'll find them. Okay, and we took a look at those. All right, this next one is one of my favorite. It's called wood sorrel. Now, this is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys get this by you. It's a type of clover. It looks just like clover. I'll put the book out here. And you can eat the whole plant, but the best part are these little pods. That pod right there, oh, it is so good. Okay, description. gonna lay it back down in oil here real quick. All right, there are numerous species of wood sorrel found throughout North America. I'm sorry for any of you overseas and stuff. This book is mainly has to do with North America. I'm sure you guys have a lot of the same plants, same types of plants. But yeah, I apologize for that. It's hard to, because plants are so, territorial. Okay, there are numerous species of wood sorrel throughout North America. All of them are small, delicate herbs with very thin stems and petioles. Their leaf shape is characteristic and unique. Each leaf consists of 3 symmetrical leaflets radiating from a central point, like clover leaflets. Unlike clovers, however, each wood sorrel leaflet is distinctly heart-shaped or notched. Generally, they are strongly creased along the midvein, like a folded paper heart. Some species of wood sorrel are perennials, growing from tubes or rhizomes, while others are annuals. Some, like Oxalis montana and O. oregana, have no main stalk, only petioles or flower stalks arising directly from underground runners. Other species, such as O. strictica, have short, fragile branching stems. The flowers have 5 petals, 5 sepals, and 10 stamens. Species are yellow, while others are pink or white. The various species bloom from spring to late summer. After the flower wither, the plant bear elongated green banana-shaped seed pods, 0.3 to a half inch or 8 to 15 millimeters long. In some species, these are even borne in banana-like bunches. Wood sorrels are found throughout North America. Different species occupy totally different habitats, but all species need shade, moisture, or both. O. stricta is a cosmopolitan weedy species found in gardens, along house foundations, and in moist, disturbed soil, usually in partial shade. The violet wood sorrel is a perennial spring ephemeral, limiting its growing season to the brief period when the soil is moist on a preferred dry, grassy hillside. Mountain soil, or the mountain wood sorrel, inhabits moist conifer and conifers hardwood forests in the eastern United States and Canada. It is strongly associated with hemlock stands and often carpets the duff, where few other plants are shade tolerant enough to survive. An ecologically similar species is the Oregon wood sorrel of the Pacific Northwest. This plant grows in the shady understory of the coastal rainforests. The leaves of Oregon wood sorrel are far larger than those of most other species. This is just a small sampling of the many wood sorrels in North America. All are considered edible. Wood sorrel's main use is as a trailside nibble. It's probably no other wild green in North America is so well liked as a snack. All the ground parts of the plant, stems, leaves, flowers, and fruits. So anything but the root you can eat. They are edible at any time, but are much more pleasant to consume when tender, so the young plants before flowering are best. Texture varies not only over time, but also between species. The Montana tends to be tough, while the leaves of the Oregana are quite tender, especially early in the season. The flavor of all species is pleasantly but potently sour, like a rhubarb stalk. That's why I love it. If you like sour candy, you'll like these. It is always interesting to watch people's faces when they taste wood sorrel for the first time, shocked but delighted by the lemony flavor. The fruits have an interesting appearance and the same pleasant taste. They are so small that it's a major undertaking to acquire even a handful, but with a few excited children, it's quite a fun project. Yeah, taking your kids out to go eat some of these, they love it. They really do. My nieces and nephews can't get enough of it. Besides using it as a snack in the field, wood sorrel greens are excellent in salads, adding a tangy flavor and attractive appearance. Little sprigs make a nice garnish. You can add wood sorrel greens to soup and other recipes to impart a little acid flavor. However, the stringiness of the older stems really stands out in cooked dishes, and it takes a long time to separate a quantity of leaves from the stems. so it's best to select young, tender plants for cooking. The exception to this is the Oregon wood sorrel. It is large, tender leaves are easy to work with, making it a premier culinary oxalis. If I want to add wood sorrel's savory essence to a soup later in the season, when the stems are tough, I just grab a bundle by the stalk and dip the whole plant into the boiling pot for about 30 seconds. When holding them in the soup, I comb them with a fork to separate the soft leaves with the stalks and then pull the bundle out. This is a really neat part right here. Wood sorrel can also be used to make a tangy, refreshing lemonade-like drink. Gather a small heap of the plant, rinse them well, and then chop them fine and process very briefly in a blender. Let the chopped wood sorrel steep in cold water for a while. Strain out the vegetation and serve cold. The violet wood sorrel, a spring ephemeral of dry prairies, is not only the most tender and delicious green of any wood sorrel I've tried, it also has a tiny edible bulb and taproot, both of which are delicious. A perennial South American species of wood sorrel, or tuberosa, is cultivated for its edible tuber. A vegetable is called oca in the Peruvian highlands, where it is a common food. Okay, like many cultivated vegetables such as rhubarb, spinach, and sorrel, wood sorrel is high in oxalic acid. Oxalic acid should be consumed in moderation. There is much ado in the wild food literature about the potential dangers of oxalic acid. It is hard to find an account or recipe for any wild plant known to be high in it. In line with the preposterous double standard that is applied to wild foods, gardening manual pertaining to cultivated vegetables. Oh, I skipped a part there. In line with the preposterous double standard that is applied to wild food, I have not seen a single oxalic acid warning in a cookbook, produce guide, or gardening manual pertaining to cultivated vegetables. That's because the oxalic acid danger is largely hypothetical, and problems associated with its consumption is always present in a body because it's produced internally. If wood sorrel was your primary food source for an extended period of time, or you ate an enormous amount at once, it might cause a problem. However, that is generally irrelevant to real life. I've eaten plenty of them, and I've never had any problems. Okay, so let's go take a look at one of those. I got one. It's actually, I found one right next to the wild strawberries that we're growing. And it's real small right now. Ooh, this is some hot sand right now. So, hey, what's up, Dan W? So here's our wild strawberries. The ones that are all curled up like that. It's hot and dry right now. And then right next to it, right here, is wood sorrel. It's this little guy right here with the 3 leaves and the little yellow flower. Now as this guy gets bigger, this pod right here, it's kind of small right now. I don't want to eat him. But that little pod, that little green pod, tastes like a sour candy. It's so good. Do a little bit of weeding around this guy here. Make sure he gets enough water. I'll let him grow big, and I'll once he's a little bit bigger, I'll come back and do another one of these, and I'm sure I'll have a bunch of them growing. I grew them all over here. Last year I let my gardens kind of go wild, and I grew a lot of wild edible plants. Now there's one plant that isn't in this book. Oh yeah, I got some garlic growing over in my other garden. I'll show it to you. Ooh, this is hot ground. Ooh, stand on the manure a little bit. This right here, that is called, we call it lamb's ear, but it is very good. They're real small right now. Everything's young right now, so I don't want to be picking on stuff and eating it. Not just yet. I don't have to. And if I did it right now, I could actually hurt the plant. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is just, oh, this stuff falling off the walkway up there. But yeah, these right here, very, very good. You can make some really nice salads out of them. Okay, so that was the wood sorrel and the wild strawberries. I'm gonna get back in the shade. It's supposed to hit about 90, 95 today. Uh, I have 4 gardens. This one is mainly my fruit garden. I put my blackberries, my strawberries, some raspberries. Um, I used to grow watermelon over here and stuff like that. But the other one is my vegetable garden, and it's got my garlic because it gets more shade over there. This is more of a sun garden. The other one gets a little bit more shade. Yeah, well, I have my fruit garden, my vegetable garden, my herb garden, and my flower garden. I mean, especially when you're making medicines and stuff like that, flowers have so much more. There's so much more to flowers than just looking pretty. When you're making medicine and stuff like that, there's a lot of flowers that have a lot of medicinal purposes. So I like having my flower garden. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot of this. This next one we're going to be looking at is the dandelion. Now I'm sure everybody knows what a dandelion is and what it looks like. But yeah, many people aren't going to like the dandelion greens. But okay, range and habitat there. I mean, they grow all over. Do you guys have them over there in England? You have dandelions? I'm sure you do. They're everywhere over here. They grow everywhere. The most ubiquitous plant on the continent is the most common in hayfields, pastures, meadows, lawns, parks, gardens, empty lots, and other disturbed areas. Also plentiful along forested roads and trails. Can be found scattered deep into the woods, especially on hillsides. Dandelions appear in at least small numbers. Yeah, it's hot out here. My phone keeps saying it's going to shut off because of the heat. What a wussy. All right, harvest and preparation. I mean, I don't have to go show you guys the dandelions. I'm sure you all know what they look like. I have some growing. They're not yellow anymore. I mowed them over, so right now they're white. They have the white fuzzy balls on them. But we're going to go over this. Dandelion greens are usually picked in early spring before the plants have flowered. Best leaves grow in rich, moist soil in locations where the plants do not get mowed. If there is a little shade or competition, the leaves usually stand erect rather than lie on the ground, which means they are more likely to be clean. Don't pick leaves from dandelions that grow along the bare ground exposed to full sun, as these usually have a stronger flavor, tougher texture, and dirt clinging to them. So when you pick dandelions, it's best to try to pick the ones that are growing straight up. You don't want to pick anything that's been laying on the ground. For taste and texture, not just because it has dirt on it. And we all know we can wash the dirt off. And a lot of people aren't going to like dandelion greens when you eat them. You're not going to like the taste. It's one of those things that you can live off of, but it tastes not the greatest. It's good for you though. So the best dandelion greens collected in early spring are milder in flavor and more tender than the older leaves, but are still somewhat bitter. Many dandelion aficionados claim that the spring greens are not bitter. I think this may be because to most people, bitter means I don't like it, and I like it means not bitter. I suspect that even the staunchest dandelion defenders can taste something bitter in them, but many feel like admitting to the bitterness would be conceding defeat. Okay. Yeah, he does a lot of that. It is a scientific book, but he puts a lot of, I don't know what you'd call it, himself into it. Okay. Dandelion greens are generally eaten as a spring tonic. In former times, before the advent of technology that facilitated the availability of year round produce of all sorts, dandelion greens were far more popular. After a long winter without fresh vegetables, these nutrient packed greens were strongly craved, and with good reason. Dandelion greens are extremely high in vitamin A, K, and beta carotene. They are also high in vitamins E, C, thiamine, riboflavin, B6, folate, and the minerals calcium, iron, potassium, and magnesium. USDA NNDSR 21. That's where that information, he got that from, I guess. The traditional process of boiling and draining reduces some of the nutrients, but still leaves an incredibly nutritious food. It can be hard to differentiate between liking something tasty and craving it. Both play a part in the dandelion's pop. Really enjoy dandelion greens will eat them all summer. Indeed, I feel that the difference between the flavor of spring and summer dandelion greens is often exaggerated. Dandelion leaves are eaten raw or cooked. In a salad, I like them mixed with milder greens. If you use them alone, a heavy application of dressing helps mask the bitterness. More often, dandelion greens are used as a pot herb. After washing thoroughly, the leaves can be steamed or cooked in a covered pot with only the rinse water clinging to them. If you find the flavor too strong, you can boil them in voluminous water for 5 to 10 minutes and then drain, which will eliminate much of the bitterness. This is usually how I cook my dandelion greens, often serving them with butter and a dash of salt. Okay, now it says crowns and dandelion's taproot usually begins an inch, 2.5 centimeters, or so below the surface of the soil. From the top root, a funnel-shaped crown of leaves grows up to the surface and beyond. In early spring, when the leaves are just beginning to grow, this crown consists of several young, tender, yellowish-white leaves and embryonic flower buds in the middle. If you cut the dandelion root just below its top, you can pry out this crown. Cut the root carefully so that there is just enough of it left to hold the crown together. Then peel away the outermost leaves, which will be dirty. Now your dandelion crown is ready to eat in a salad or ready to cook. I find these crowns preferable to the greens. They still have a little of the plant's characteristic bitterness, but when cooked it is lost in a sea of... I usually boil or steam them. They are excellent in soups or just served with the usual seasoning of your choice. They call it the... We'll go with the Latin name first. Asteraceae. It's part of the sunflower family. The Tragopogon. Here in the U.S. we call it salsify, an oyster plant. And I like the one that they call it the goat's beard. Yeah, this one is really neat. Okay. There are 3 similar species of salsify. Found in North America, all of them introduced from Europe. For the forager, it is not important to distinguish them, since all 3 are harvested and eaten in the same way and are comparable in flavor. Salsify is a biennial herb with a stout, fleshy taproot. The first year rosetta consists of numerous linear, grass-like leaves up to 14 inches or 35 centimeters. When growing on bare ground, the leaves often spread out wide, lying flat upon the soil, but under competition from the neighboring plants, the leaves stand erect. Although at a glance the salsify rosetta looks grass-like, there are many distinctions which allow one to spot this composite. First is the existence of the rosetta itself. Few grasses have numerous leaves radiating symmetrically from a single point, as in a salsify rosetta. Another characteristic is the deeply folded V-profile leaves of salsify. Grass leaves may be creased in this way, but rarely so deeply. Salsify also have a distinctly light-colored midvein, which grasses lack. If in doubt, break a leaf in the middle. On salsify you will note that the midvein is enlarged and hollow or airy, while on grass it is never the case. And most reliably, a torn salsify leaf will exude a latex, white at first but soon turning brown. No grasses produce latex. In its second year, the salsify produces an erect flowering stalk, typically 1 to 5 feet, 30 to 150 centimeters tall. It is a lover of warm weather and does not begin growing until mid to late spring. But once the stalk begins to shoot up, it reaches its full height in a few short weeks. The stem typically forks into 30 branches. Each branch terminates in a composite flower head, and after these bloom, new branches will sprout from some of the leaves. Once counted, 229 flower heads on a large purple salsify plant in Victoria. Wow, that is a lot of flowers on one plant. Dang. Salsify stems are smooth, glabrous, solid, and round in cross-section, generally ranging from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch, 5 to 20 millimeters in diameter. Okay, they bloom from late spring through early summer with a few stranglers continuing into August. Okay, I got pictures of them, so I'm just going to show you the pictures of them. Or instead of showing you the pictures of them, I'm just going to show you one instead of sitting here and... But first we're going to do the harvest and preparation. Salsify is cultivated for its edible taproot. Yeah, most people use it for the root, although it is not nearly as popular now as it was formerly. Taproots of wild plants can be used just like those of the cultivated form, although they tend to be smaller. Their flavor and texture are in no way inferior. Salsify roots are stout, cream-colored or light brown, rarely branched and strongly tapering. They may be over an inch thick and in the crown, but rarely exceed 8 inches or 20 centimeters in length. The time to harvest salsify root is fall, winter, if you can get to them, and early spring. As with other biennials, do not harvest root from plants with a stalk. Seek rosettas only. These vegetables are easily dug with a regular shovel. Leave half or more of the plants to go to seed. After you scrub and wash roots, they can be cut into sections and cooked in any way you please. Use them promptly for cut ends. Okay, salsify roots become very tender when cooked and have a mild flavor that has earned them such names as the oyster plant and vegetable oyster. The flavor is rich, hearty, slightly sweet, and filling, perhaps even meaty. These qualities are widely appreciated. I love salsify roots boiled until tender, drained, and then even served with sauce of butter, salt, and dillweed. Okay, blah blah blah, scallop. They can be stored all winter in a root cellar, like parsnips. They can even tolerate light freezing without damage. They will last quite a while in the refrigerator if kept in a plastic bag to prevent drying out. They can also be stored by pressure canning. I have not tried drying or freezing them. Actually, every part of the salsify plant is edible when tender. In the second year, just before the flower stalks shoot up, the rosettas will produce a cluster of upright, light green leaves in its center. These leaves are very tender and have a mild, lettuce-like flavor. They make an excellent salad. The only drawback is their grass-like form and rapidly discoloring latex. When the shoot is still very tender, up to a height of about 4 to 16 inches, 10 to 40 centimeters, it can be cut at the base and eaten with its attached young leaves. These shoots are good when eaten raw and exceptional when cooked and served like asparagus. They are his favorite part of the plant. Now it produces a fourth vegetable. In early to midsummer, when such things can be hard to find, the flower bud. These have a mild, sweet flavor and cook up nice and tender. They are excellent steamed and served with a little butter. But be certain to get the flower buds pre-flowering. You don't want to get these things after they've opened up, rather than the closed up heads post-flowering, because they do. They open up, and then they close back up, and then they open up again, and they're the white seeds. So you want to get them before they even open up to the yellow flower. The latter will be about twice as big and usually show a little tuft of pappus near the end. That's like the yellowish stuff coming out the end. Plus, the bracts will not be closed as tightly or as neatly as those on a bud that is not yet open. Even better than the flower bud is the fast-growing 3 to 7 inch, 8 to 18 centimeter stem that bears it. That's holding the flower bud up. So good. They taste so good. Remember, the fast means tender. A few things grow as fast as salsify peduncles. One day, there is but a tiny bud peeking from a leaf axil, and 2 days later there is 6 inch, 15 centimeter stem at the same place, terminating with the flower bud nearly ready to open. I make my way through a salsify patch, picking 1 or 2 of these from each plant until I get a small handful. I usually eat both the stem and the bud at the same time, but the stem tastes better. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Yeah, I'll show you what they look like, but they are good, folks. These things are... Oh, I'm going to have to sit here for a sec. My leg fell asleep. Ooh, I was... my foot. I'm getting the tinglies. Oh. There's the old strawberry patch. Okay. Let's go take a look at the salsify plant. I got a few of them in my yard. I usually just run them over with the lawnmower, to be honest, because they grow everywhere. And when you know what they look like, right here is a salsify plant. Now that flower was actually the flower right here. That was the one I took for the screensaver. So it was opened up just a couple hours ago. But you can tell how it's been opened and then it closed. You can see, and these right here haven't opened yet. So I'm actually just gonna go ahead and pull that whole bad boy out of there. And that right there, that is good eating, folks. Here's some more of the wood sorrel. Like I said, it grows everywhere. And some more of the lamb's ear. I never run this stuff over. I try not to. Or pull it out. This stuff can go. This stuff can go. Right here, very important plant. Milkweed. The monarch butterfly. This is the only thing that the monarch butterflies eat, they say. So I let them grow. I even let them grow in my garden. Now here is the salsify, or the goat's beard, young. That's what it looks like. Oh yeah, this sheep sorrel is so good, isn't it? How we doing, Josh? Good show yesterday. Here's some dandelion right here. All these plants, look at that, right here in my yard, all within a few feet of each other. Now you don't want to look at it. There's some wood sorrel right next to it. Dandelions. And this is just growing wild out in the yard, you know. Here's some more goat's beard, or whatever you want to call it. More dandelions, more goat's beard. That's what it looks like when it's real young, they were telling you about. This, when it's like this, is when you want to pull it out and eat the root. The clover looking stuff, Hatter, is, they call it wood sorrel. Here, let me get a bigger one. Right here. And the difference between this and the clover is it's got that heart shape. This one they call wood sorrel. Yeah, wood sorrel. S-O-R-R-E-L. It's a neat little plant. It doesn't have any of the, I mean, you can eat the whole plant. You can eat everything. But it grows these little, they look like bananas almost. I mean, I have this stuff everywhere. It is all over the place. Yeah, it's supposed to be up in the mid 90s today here. I think that'd be like 32, 33 degrees Celsius. These plants, I'm not sure what they are, but they are so cool. They're nice and really soft. Isn't that just pretty down in there? But they grow they'll grow real tall, 5 feet tall. There's a salsify, goat's beard, right in the middle of it growing up. But yeah, I let all these things grow around here just because, I mean, it's food. Not just for me, but for all the animals. Gardens are doing pretty good. They don't like the hot days. I'm sure they're happy they're in the shade right now. They're still pretty young over there, poor things. But these guys are doing great. This right here is what I've been waiting for. That little, I don't want to touch it too much, but that little leaf growing right out there, those are the leads. Those are going to try growing straight up, and then they're going to fall over and start vining out. This one right here, I don't know if something ate that guy or what. Poor thing. Yeah, I have a new rule. When I let people come into my garden, they have to be barefoot. I learned that people tend to pay more attention to where they're stepping when they're barefoot because they don't want to hurt their feet. So they won't be stepping on. I've had people stepping on my plants in the past, and I was just thinking about it because somebody wanted to walk in here this morning. Oh, here's my garlic patch. Yeah, people walking through my gardens the last couple years, and they'll step on stuff. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Do you not see the plant? Oh, I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, from now on, anybody that steps in my garden is going to be barefoot. They're going to pay attention to where they're stepping. But yeah, this is my garlic right here. All this. All these were, the first year it grew up as one shoot. Just one of these little things sticking up by itself. And each of these now is like a clove, a garlic clove. Or each of them is a, yeah. It's one big clove right there, but each one is a piece of garlic. I'm not sure if you guys know what garlic looks like when it's still in a clove. And these guys, these are my lemon balm. They do not like this super hot heat like this. They didn't like being in the sun. They're okay. I'm gonna make sure they get a nice, good drink of water today. Yeah, I love the heat and the humidity. It's 100% humidity around here like it always is. Here's a nice onion growing. But not this early in the season. These are still babies right here. They don't need the heat and humidity. Well, the humidity is okay, but they don't need this heat so much. Not this early. So I'm not worried about them because I know they're tough, you know. But it's weird. It's like when It's like they're your kids almost. I love these plants. I do. I love them. We're gonna be, I'm gonna consume them one day. We're gonna be united. I don't know. It's just the new. I've been getting back into this alchemy again lately, and it's really been just changing my outlook even more now on everything. Just how I appreciate not just the plants anymore, but the dirt and the air and the water, and there's so much that goes into making all this stuff. And the insects and the bees and the flies, and we need so much help for all this stuff to happen. I mean, yeah, we like to just, we could plant a seed and pull all the other plants around it and give it some water, but the bugs got to come by and pollinate it. There's a lot of work being done. It's an amazing, amazing place. And to think that it, I mean, this is an amazing design. Just how it all works. How it all works together. Now this is your clover plant right here. It's not looking too good because of the heat. But as you can see, the leaves are a little bit different than those other ones. They're not heart-shaped. Clovers will be round. As you can see in these other ones, the vein in it is very deep. It's a sharp vein that almost cuts the leaf in half. See that? You can really see that vein going right down the center of it. Yeah, barefoot, I mean, it's mostly for their safety. It's saying something about the temperature again. How do I get out of this? Okay. Yeah, well, it's saying high temperatures, folks. I'm gonna show you guys the polk real quick, because now's the time to be eating polk. Well, here in a little bit, I'll show you guys the old raspberry patch that is looking amazing right now with all the berries on it. Look at all those berries. I cannot wait. It's going to be a good harvest this year. And as soon as I get done here, I'm working on all this. I'm going to be weeding all this stuff back here. Oh yeah, the polk. That's where I'm heading. Right here. This is polk. It's a very rubbery plant. It feels rubbery. It'll have usually a few stalks coming out of a main one in the center. But right now is the time to eat it. Once it starts getting the berries out of it, and if you do go to eat polk, you want to cook it. Excuse me. It really needs to be cooked. It's much more bitter than dandelions. But the berries, oh, it's already starting. Yeah, it needs to be eaten like now. See the little berries coming out of it? Those little berries right there. Those little berries right there will, the Indians used to use them to induce vomiting. They are poison, straight poison. Here's some more of that salsify. More clover. See, there's your regular clover leaf. It doesn't have the heart shape on it. like the wood sorrel does. But that's it, folks. And these are just plants that grow in my yard wild. So there's always food out there, and it's usually not very far away. You just gotta go take a look. That's the coolest part about it. So while you're out walking around or whatnot, oh, what's going on, Anthony? How you doing, man? Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Warm here. Getting up into the 90s already. My phone keeps wanting to shut off. I was just going over some of the wild edible plants that you can find in the neighborhood here in northern Indiana. We have some young goat's beard or salsify right here. Of course, dandelions. Dandelions are always good. More dandelions. A little bit more of a mature salsify plant right there. And then we were talking about wood sorrel right here. I love these, and the difference between that and clover. We covered a little bit on lamb's ear, how it is very edible, the whole plant, good for you. But just wanted to show people that there's always food out there. You know, it's never far. I mean, yeah, I do have a big yard compared to some people. A lot of people don't even have yards. I understand that. But you can go find this stuff out on the side of the road just walking down the street. And then here is a salsify or goat's beard that is matured. This is a second year here. There's multiple ones growing out of the stalk. But yeah, this one has already been opened up and closed itself back up. That one, I mean, you can eat it, but it wouldn't be as good as one of these here. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's warm today. The plants are they're sagging right now. They're drooping. They were looking beautiful and standing up this morning, but 90 degrees and they're still babies. They'll be all right though. They're tough. It may take a couple days. It's supposed to be back in the 70s next week, so they'll be fine. All my strawberries oh yeah, and we talked about strawberries too. We'll go take a quick look at those before I jump out of here again. Oh, I hope everything's going good out there for you, Anthony. We haven't had much rain here. It's really been I've been having to water a lot lately. They've been calling for rain, and then they push it back and push it back and push it back. So here are your regular strawberries, or not your regular strawberries. I shouldn't say that. They're all beautiful, wonderful strawberries. But as you can see, these are already producing some. They're working on producing berries. But these are the ones you go buy at the store. These are everberries. And these you can get them to produce almost all year round, determining on the light and the heat. So yeah, they're starting to produce some strawberries. I transplanted this guy, that guy there, and that guy right there about 4 or 5 days ago. And this one is actually finally starting to turn up. He is looking real rough. But I think he's going to make it. And it was so weird because after I transplanted him, the next 2 mornings, I felt horrible. The next morning, I just woke up and I was like on the wrong side of the bed. Wednesday, and I think I did it Tuesday night, I transplanted it. And Wednesday and Thursday morning, I just woke up and I was in a horrible mood, like almost all day. And I didn't even notice that I had done this until Wednesday afternoon after I got home from work. But I was wondering, was I feeling, because my plant was hurt and going through all this, was I also, being affected by it? That would be neat. I mean, it'd be horrible, but they say, when an alchemist is doing his experiments and stuff and messing with the plants and whatnot, he feels it as they're being teased and tortured. And then elated, and you feel great when things, because as soon as I noticed it getting better last night, it's just turning green again and it's starting to come back to life. All right, Richard, take it care, buddy. Thanks for dropping by, man. But yeah, as it started getting better and feeling better, I felt better. It's a beautiful relationship to have with these plants like this. But this right here, these are the wild strawberries. As you can see, much smaller. The leaves over here on these are nice and big and round. And then you come over here, and we'll get one that's kind of opened up a little bit. And the leaves are just not as round, more long and skinny. And they tend to like to roll up like that when it gets real hot and humid and dry. Well, this time of year at least. But you can see the little berries. The berries are much smaller that they grow right here. But you can collect, like I said, they spread like wildfire. They get these runners right here. Yep. And these runners are, ooh, flies are biting. But these runners are spread out like crazy. So I got some more weeding to do. I'm going to do a bunch of weeding over here and see if I can't get these wild strawberries back to their former glory. Pepper plants are doing okay. They're hanging in there. This one, he's always been a little bit droopy right here. And I'm not sure, I mean, today it's understandable, but even the last couple of days, he hasn't been as just chipper as all the other ones. So I'm going to keep an eye on him, talk to him a little bit extra. Get all these out of there. And then that one's looking really good. Got a nice new flower on it. Always a beautiful thing. And then good old tomato plant. Hey, how we doing, Walt? My alchemy test, I'm doing the lemon balm. That's the one I'm going to be making the end tincture out of this year. And I'm going to do it. Starting tomorrow, I'm starting my water fast. I had my last caffeine this morning. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to go on a cleanse to start cleaning myself out. And so I'm going to start taking my 7 basics that I had made before that started growing my hair back. And I had grown it, I had made it out of vanity, wanting to grow my hair back. But that's not why I'm going to be taking it this time. So I figured that it's okay. I'm going to be taking it just to help get my reharmonize my body, because I did take the time and put in the effort to break down the plant and then reunite it and make it new again. And so I have all this magic in a bottle and I don't want it to go to waste. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to start taking my 7 basics again. And this is going to take me about a year to make this tincture right here. But I'm going to be using these right here, my lemon balm. I plan on getting a couple more to keep inside. But these guys, they're not liking this heat too much just yet. They'll be okay though. They're tough. But yeah, these are going to be the ones that are going to be helping me make some amazing medicine, aren't you guys? We're going to do amazing things together. Yeah, I can't wait. So many different literatures I've read on this plant. It's full of medicinal value. So I can't wait to really start getting into it and getting to know it a lot better. Yeah, it's a beautiful plant. I'm gonna make me a quick little tea I think. I'm going to make me some tea of my spearmint here. So I'm going to take some spearmint, and then I'm going to take some a little bit of lemon balm and just make a warm tincture drink, just a quick one. And then I think I'm going to go how shall I say it? I'm going to go get in tune. Oh, really? Yeah, it's probably cutting out, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be done with AT&T here as soon as this month's plan runs out. I'm just done with them. The connection around here isn't all that great, and I don't like using the Wi-Fi. But yeah, everybody, I'm gonna get rolling here. It's about 90 degrees here right now. I got my mowing and stuff done this morning. Hey, Walt. Good show yesterday, guys. I enjoyed it. Yeah, sorry, I got a little lost in thought there for a second. Good show, though. Yeah, I got a lot of weeding to do. That's the one thing about gardening, folks. The weeding job is never done. Yeah, that happens, though, Walt. That happens. Am I psychic or what, though? Come on. You got to tell me. Did I call that? That's all I'm going to say about that. But I love that guy, dude. That guy, he just cracks me up. He's got he's got that sense of humor, man. That just have those open discussions like that. My dog will not quit digging this hole, and I don't know what I'm going to do about him. Such a big old baby. But yeah, it's 90, going to be 95 today. I got out here early and watered everything. I slept in till about 6 o'clock today. I always felt like such a bum. But I needed it. I haven't been getting my sleep lately. I've been staying up a little bit later. And then I always get up at the same time. Man, I got some weeding to do over in this corner. I got something growing here. I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be some kind of a squash. I know it had a white seed, so I know it's not a watermelon. Yeah, this whole week I got wiped out. Well, like I was saying earlier, I had transported my strawberry plants Tuesday night. And I knew already that it was a bad idea because it's too late in the year to be transplanting perennials. You know, you want to do that stuff. You want to do that in the wintertime when the plant's dormant. Not now. But I wanted to get them out of the way because they were way too far away from the strawberry patch, so I went ahead and did it. I moved that guy back there, and then the two over here they're coming back. They were looking real, one of them was looking real bad. And it just really affected me because I knew that I did it, you know. I knew I shouldn't have been doing it when I did it, and then when I realized it the next day, I even felt worse. But that first day I felt bad, I didn't even know that it was doing bad. It's just weird. It was just like we were connected, and you know, and I had done something to it, and I had felt what I had done to it. Yeah, look at all this, man. A little bit of. Now these are raspberries, not blackberries. That's a blackberry. Well, maybe they are blackberries. I don't know. These Brazilian ones are a little bit different. Lambs here. See, all this stuff I let grow in here last year, and it decimated a lot of my berries. So I'm not going to do it this year. I'm just going to eat this whole guy right here. Yeah, it's a really good plant. It's got a neat flavor to it. The end, it kind of tastes like a cucumber, almost. But yeah, that's the book that I went over this morning a little bit. Just a couple of them. Nature's Garden, a guide to identifying, harvesting, and preparing edible wild plants. And they're all in North America. But this is a really neat book. It's different than a lot of the other edible wild plant books because of the pictures and stuff like that it gives. Real colored, good descriptions. Talks about how you can eat acorns. It goes through all kinds of different nuts, what to look for. It goes through all kinds of neat stuff. Berries. It covers all the different berries that are edible. This is a really neat page. It tells you what time of year the different plants are edible and what time you should harvest them. Yeah, this is part of my bug out bag book collection. Yeah, I knew that, we can't depend on you give away your power when you depend on other people for your food and your water and your resources and stuff. And I figured if we're going to take it back, it's like I said before, I don't want it to, but I think it's going to eventually get ugly for those of us that are going to not go with the system. And when it does get ugly, knowing all this little stuff like this could be the difference of living or dying, of having to walk into a camp or staying out on your own for a while longer. What did I pay for this? $25. Worth its weight in gold. Here's a nice patch of the wood sorrel. I might let this... No, I won't. I'm not letting this one grow. They're a little bit too small right now, but those are the little pods that you eat when they're closed. And they taste so good. It's a very sour, little tart little treat. But yeah, just knowing what you can and can't eat could mean so much. So little things like this. Yeah, Anthony, I'll send that to you on Skype. I'll take a picture of all of them, or I'll write them all down, or yeah, I'll send you a list of all the different books that I've been going through at least, because they like I said, it's great, especially young minds. Oh man, what I would do to have had somebody bestow this knowledge upon me when I was young. Wide Awake. The guy Wide Awake did an awesome video where he's talking to these young kids about flat earth and stuff like that, and about how we're all being lied to, and it was such an awesome video. Just a great video, but it made me realize that's it. I mean, who cares what Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye or the head professor at Harvard or any of these old fogies like me and some of you people listening, us old people, we don't matter. doesn't matter anymore. But it's these young kids. We got to explain, and they're so willing to accept it because the lies are so much more in your face anymore that it's so much easier to see. Yeah, they have down the dumbed down crowd of all these older people that watch CNN for their news every day and this and that. And yeah, they have them. They're locked in, you know, they're not getting out. My mom's not getting out. She's, you know, she sees it, but then somehow it's just like she just turns off the reality and goes right back into the dream world to where it's, oh, I hate Donald Trump and this and that and yada yada. It's like, Mom, they're all in it together, but here nor there. I'm not worried about the older people anymore. It's these younger generation because they're the future. And as soon as, I mean, could you imagine having someone like you or me talking to us when we were in our early 20s, telling us what the world is like? Oh, that is awesome, Anthony. Yeah, 7 years old. 7 years old, and she's going to be, you know, learning how to do something that she'll be able to do the rest of her life. No, we probably wouldn't have listened, Walt. You're right. But no, but when I was in my early 20s, if somebody, you know, came up and said, hey, all these people are lying to you and this and that, I would have listened. You know, I would have listened to another conspiracy theorist, but a just much older one and a wiser one. Because I was a conspiracy theorist when I was young. I don't like using that word, but yeah, I mean, I wrote my senior thesis paper on the JFK assassination. You know, so I've always had the conspiratory mind of there's a group of people out there that are lying to us, and I think it might. There's just a lot more of us out here now. Older people that are willing to go out and talk to the younger people about this stuff and not feel embarrassed or ashamed or, you know, this whole flat earth thing has opened up a lot of people's mouths, has given them not so much just the courage, but the ability, you know, to go up to somebody and say, no, man, the globe is fucking stupid. That is dumb. Look at it. Where 3 years ago we would have been like, okay, do I push this? No, now we're so confident in ourselves and what we know that we're very adamant about these things. And, you know, 9/11, Sandy, you can name off all these different conspiracies. And I would go up to a young person and tell them flat, I do it all the time at work. Now, when I do it a little differently. I get to know the person a little bit, but it's not so much me getting to know the person. It's I let the person get to know me. You know, I let the person I give them, I guess, an opinion of me, I guess you would say. I have conversations with them about intelligent things. You know, I try to let them know that I'm not an ignorant fool before I hit them with it. Now, some people I hit right away. It all depends on who I'm talking to. You know, but I might mention something about NASA, and if they say, oh, well, that's fake and this and that, then I go right for it. But if they're all about NASA and satellites and this and that, and they can't get past any of that stuff, I don't hit them with flat Earth until I've talked to them about all the electricity experiments I've done and about all the laser experiments and all the light and lenses and, you know, all the different things that I've learned over these last few years and how our eyes work and things like that. I explain this stuff to them first, and then I hit them with the flat Earth. Then I hit them with, hey, I know you've heard about this flat Earth thing everybody's talking about. You really need to look into it. And they look at me all crazy when I tell them that, because, you know, I try to, we'll say, I try to gain their respect a little bit before I hit them with this. And it works better for me that way, because I used to just come out and say it. I used to come out to everybody, hey, the Earth's flat, this and that. I went and got my eyeglasses, and I was telling the eye examiner, and, you know, at first you want to share it with everybody and this and that, but you refine your way of doing it. And I found my best way is to establish myself as a intelligent, sane individual that they, you know, have come to respect in some way a little bit. You know, not, when I say respect, it's just when I speak or give an opinion or something, they kind of tend to, you know, they listen. They may not agree with it, but they listen to what I have to say. I try not to say a bunch of just stupid random nonsense. And then when I hit them with flat earth, they go look at it for sure, almost. The last two people I did it to was just this last week. And for the first 2 days, they didn't even want to make eye contact with me after I told them. We work in different departments and whatnot. And, you know, I just walk by and nod my head, and they'd kind of nod their head, but they were like different about it. And then I could tell that they actually took a look at it. They got a second and they sat down and they looked at it. Because then the next day we didn't even, and I don't bring it up anymore. I don't ask them if they've looked at it. I don't ask them. But after that couple days, they kind of came up to me and started talking to me. Not about flat earth. I know they want to, you know. That's the thing. I know they want to talk about the flat earth, but they're still kind of, they're not sure. So it's like a young plant. You can't go and harvest the young plant. I planted the seed. The plant is young. It hasn't matured yet. So I'm not going to bother it just yet. I'm going to let that plant grow. I'm going to let that seed grow and fester inside them. And grow and blossom and get big until they come up to me and ask, man, tell me more. You know, and they will. They all do. I've done it a bunch of times. I do it more with the older people in the front office and stuff like that. I've learned how to, and it's funny because they all accept it, but they're just so corporate minded that they are under the impression that there's nothing that can be done, and it really doesn't matter. And it's sad because, I mean, the one guy, he talks to me about flat earth all the time. There's one of the guys, I know he knows it, you know. And there's another one of them who is he knows it. He's a smart guy, knows all about AutoCAD, and he was a nuclear engineer. Very smart man. But he does not want to admit it. He doesn't. At first, when I told him, he'd come in and, you know, he'd crack wise. But I've learned that when they crack wise, I tell them that they're the ones that are in a belief system. And that before you go harping on me, you need to prove what you believe first, because you've never seen the curve of the earth. You've only been shown pictures and told that. And you've never taken a measurement that has showed you the curve of the earth. Nobody has. And when I tell them stuff like that there's no experiments to prove anything that you believe, with an educated person, that will sit heavy on them. And they're going to want to go look it up. And I know he has. And we don't talk about it too much. You know, when I took the pictures of me the first time this year, I went to Chicago and I got the shoreline, those lights along the shore. He was like, yeah, okay. And that's all he said. Like, it was just like, what do you want me to do, man? Okay, you're right. I understand it, but, you know, I got to do this, I got to do that, blah, 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 blah. Very small picture. And that's fine. This isn't for everybody to go on this crusade, in this journey. You know? It's not something you do to get rich and famous, and it's more of a mission, you know? A mission for good versus evil, and I'm choosing to play the game, and I'm going to be good. I'm going to be on the good side. Don't get me wrong, this is a war. You can call it a game, a war, whatever you want, but the sharing of information is war. Especially when most of it is lies, you know, and the truth is hidden. 5% of all warfare is information based. Only 5% of it is actually pulling out a gun and shooting. So that's gonna be it for today, folks. I'm gonna get to ooh, this is hot. I'm gonna get to work. I mowed and all that stuff. Actually, I think I'm gonna take a little break for at least a few hours. I'm gonna let the sun get a little bit lower in the sky before I go crazy. But yeah, I got a lot of weeding to do still. Always do. Got the strawberry patch though. That's right, Anthony. One mouth at a time. One mouth at a time. One ear at a time. You can't tell everybody. Yes. Our food is our medicine is our food. That is a mantra that THC Anthony has taught me. If you guys don't know him, go check out he's teaching all kinds of great stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going to go make me a little lemon balm spearmint tincture. Wait about 20 minutes. Then I'm going to go get in tune. For those of you that aren't privy to what that means, I'm going to go smoke a bowl. And I'm going to relax. Maybe even take a nap. I don't know. We'll see. So thank you all so much for joining me. I'll be on tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock Central Time. We'll have our alchemy chat. There'll be a good one on fire and the Kabbalah. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Lemon balm mint, that's right. So you all have a wonderful day, enjoy it, and remember, go say hi to a plant. Just give it a nod. Just notice it. Just acknowledge that it has a soul and a consciousness, and that it can love you back. All right? Love you too, Walt. Love all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Go give a plant a hello. And it'll brighten up your day, I promise. So this is Good Times for All signing out. As always, folks, thanks for watching.